Okay. Just a quick thumbs up. Can everyone see my screen? And can anyone hear my voice? Okay. So good morning, everyone. So welcome to our series on AI 900. This is module number 3. Today we'll be discussing about Azure AI Natural Language Processing. So this is a four-week event in which the past 2 weeks we've been discussing other different aspects of Azure AI. So this week we'll be discussing NLP. So let me just give you a brief introduction of myself for those who are not able to attend the past 2 sessions. So my name is Ziggy Zulueta. I'm a six times Microsoft certified engineer. Within the AI field, I have 2 certifications. One would be the Azure AI Fundamentals course, and another would be the Azure AI Engineer course. So in today's session, we'll be discussing what Azure AI Fundamentals is and how this course can help you achieve that goal. So the agenda for today would be the following. So the first one is I will introduce again, for those who are not able to attend the past 2 sessions, what Azure AI is about. And then from there, I will also discuss what AI 900 is. So what this fundamental certification is and how you should be able to achieve it. And then third, we'll also go through again what an Azure AI multi-service resource is. And then from there, we'll be discussing the different features of Azure AI natural language processing, mainly language, speech, and translator. So going through the Azure AI introduction, the past 2 weeks, we've been discussing Azure AI when it comes to machine learning. So that was the first week. In machine learning, we discussed the topics on linear regression, classification, and clustering. We discussed the machine learning studio and how using drag and drop features, you're able to create your own machine learning models. In the following week, the second week, we discussed Azure AI Vision. And under that aspect, we discussed how image analysis, video analysis, reading text from documents, optical character recognition, object detection, facial detection, and facial recognition would help you with your business solutions. So this week, we'll be discussing 2 different items. One would be language, and another would be speech. So I'll be discussing what each and every portion these are. And then in the succeeding week, next week, if you are still interested, we'll be discussing about knowledge mining and OpenAI. So what is this Azure AI Fundamentals course? So Microsoft Azure AI Fundamentals is a basic course that is typically geared for IT professionals and even business leaders who want to understand more what the concepts of AI is. So what does it measure for you? It will measure what are the things that you need to know when you take the exam, and that exam will basically measure you against the following. So one is you should be able to know what are the different AI workloads and considerations. And then from there, what are the fundamental principles of machine learning? You need to describe what computer vision is about, and then you need to also discuss what NLP is and how it can help your business. So in this exam, when you take it, there's no development that you need to do. In fact, all of the exercises that I've been providing in the past 2 sessions, you actually don't need to go through those um, uh, exercises. So you don't actually need to do any development or programming work or any configurations in Azure. No. So AI 900 is pretty much a multiple choice question wherein you need to know the concepts needed that Azure can provide when it comes to AI. No? So it's the entry level examination for Azure AI Fundamentals. And then from there, once you take this exam, you can take the Azure AI Engineer Associate course. So this AI Fundamentals course is not a prerequisite for the AI engineer course. So remember earlier in the previous slide, we had this Azure AI Fundamentals certification and an Azure AI Engineer certification. For the AI Fundamentals, you don't need any developmental knowledge about it. With Azure AI Engineer, this is where you need to go more in depth, in which you need to have some sort of expertise and experience doing developments in Azure. So this is where the exercises will definitely come into play. And then the past 2 weeks, we discussed how you could create your own Azure free account. So this free account would allow you to access popular services for free for 12 months. So these free services would include all the AI capabilities that I've been discussing the past 2 weeks. So all of those would be free. And then also you will have a $200 Azure credit that you can use on your first month. So once after this course, there will be some exercises you can do. And then from there, if you're interested, you can also go to the past 2 courses which I provided. There are recordings for that in the LinkedIn page. From there, you can also go through the exercises. And in those exercises, you will need some Azure credits. So once you start to create your free account, from there, you will be able to use those $200 free credit for you to go through the courses. Now, just a side note, once you create this account, they will be asking you for a credit card. So this credit card is actually something that they will use just for verification. They will not charge you anything for it. It's just that that credit card is what they use to identify you as a person. The reason for that is if you start creating multiple free accounts with different emails and different username and passwords, eventually, a lot of people would abuse the system. So what Azure did was that every time you create an account, you need to provide your password, your credit card. And if they see that this credit card has been used before, then they will not allow you to have that free account anymore. So that's how they tag the system. In other words, if you want to have multiple free accounts, you can do so as long as you have multiple credit cards as well. So don't worry, again, they will not charge you for this, but this is how they track uniqueness in the system. And then from there, so I'll do a demo on what this Azure AI multi-service resource is. But in general, for you to have access to any of the resources in AI for Azure, you need to create a Azure AI resource. So we have 2 resources within Azure for AI. So one is a multi-service resource and another is a single resource. So a multi-service resource will allow you to access all the services of Azure within AI. So it's a general resource that not includes computer vision, but also custom vision, AI language, AI translator, AI speech, and others. So you typically want to use this resource if you want to have access to all the different AI services and to simplify your development. So for example, we have an example here wherein you have an image from, let's say, you have an image of a stop sign in which you want to get the image of the text. You want to get the text in the image. So in that case, since it's stop sign, you want to get the word stop. And then from there, you want to translate that word into Filipino, for example. So from stop, hinto, change it. And then from there, you want to analyze it. So normally, those are 3 different services. One is computer vision to get the text from the image, which is the word stop. Another one is to translate it. So sorry. So let's say you have a Filipino stop sign, and then you want to translate it to English. And then from there, you want to analyze it. So those are 3 different resources. So one would be computer vision, another would be translator, another would be language. But with Azure AI multi-service, it simplifies the process for you. You just create one multi-service resource and you're able to access all of these services already. So that's the beauty of this multi-service resource. for simplicity purposes, you just create it and then you can access all the services, which I'll demo to you later. But the problem here is that you will not be able to track costs among the individual resources you use. So for example, if you use this in a business case and you want to understand which of the three is used more often in the process, you will not be able to do that because you only have one resource. So this is where the single resource would come in. So Azure AI services was the multi-service resource I talked about. And then from there, you have all these different resources that you can create. So custom vision, document intelligence, face, and vision was something we discussed last week. So these four have different features. So these are the notes. So these were the things that we discussed last week, and each of these resources have their own capabilities. So this week we'll be discussing three. One would be language, in which you can do all of these things, which I'll discuss later. And then you have speech, in which you can do all these speech capabilities. If you want to create your own chatbot that talks, you can use speech with that. And then translation, if you want to do some um, workloads and you want to translate a lot of documents. So let me just give you a demo on what these resources are all about. Okay. Okay, let me share my. Okay. So the first thing you'd normally do is if you don't have an account yet, you search in Google, in Bing, a free Azure account. Okay, from there, okay, since I am since I already logged in with a paid account, I need to go to another browser. Okay. So you need to click on Start Free here if you don't have an Azure account yet. And then from there, you'll create a new one. So let's say I'll create a sample. ziggslueta123@gmail.com. So this email does not exist now, but obviously I will not complete the process. So let's just put some whatever password. Okay. Okay. So what will happen is, so I'll not proceed with this, but once you provide all of your details here, eventually they will ask you for a credit card. So you need to complete this process. And then once you've completed it, what will happen is that they will eventually send you to this site, portal.azure.com. So under this, you'll first see your subscriptions. So here I have a lot of subscriptions because I already have a paid account. But what will happen is that you will have your first subscription here, called trial subscription. Okay. So this trial subscription, you'll see that it has no cost. You have your credit here of $200 and you'll not be incurring cost. And what will happen is that once the $200 is up, they will no longer charge you. So, but the thing is, all of your resources and all of things that you've done will no longer be working. So again, so that's the only caveat there. And what will happen is that the trial subscription, if you want to continue further, you can upgrade it to a pay-as-you-go setup, wherein every time you use any resource, that's the time they start charging you. Okay, so that's how it would go. Now, what will happen is you'll go to home, and then from here, you will search for create a resource group. Okay, so that's the first thing you'll do. I will create my first resource group for this course. So I'll put here AI 900 course. Okay. You can put any region where you are located. So Southeast Asia, and then from here, create. So once it's been created, you go to your resource group. Okay. And now, if you want to have access to any of the AI services, this is where you create your resource. Okay. So under the resource group on top here, create. Okay. And then they will head you to the marketplace in which you set up an Azure AI resource. So search Azure AI. Okay. And here you'll see all the services within Azure. No? So this one, I will want the Azure AI resource. So this is the multi-service resources I was talking about. So I'll click create. Okay. So the region here can be the same region as the resource group that you created earlier, or it can be another region. So for example, my resource group is in Southeast Asia. It's fine if you create a resource in East US. So there's no issue with that. Um, it's going to be a separate discussion on data residency. If you have government restrictions, for example, wherein the data has to be in a specific region, then that's where you want to do it. So for example, if you're a multi-region company in which your main company is in Southeast Asia, but your client is in the US, then for this purpose, you create your resource in the US if it's a US client, for example. Okay, so I'll put here Asia, sample AI resource. The pricing tier, you only have one option. So the name can be any name. Okay, and then you need to click on this checkbox, review and create, and then click on create. So that's how simple it is. So actually, I created already a sample here. Okay, so you'll see how the progress is. So it's actually, so the resource has been created already. So okay, cool. So from here, you'll be able to see. Still not yet being created. Okay. So I have a sample here already created. Okay, let me just show you. Okay, so I created already one earlier. So basically it will take a while. So once you access this, you'll be able to access all the different AI services already. So from here, you'll see, so this is the multi-service resource that we set up earlier. So this should be the end result. Okay, and then from there, you'll be able to access the service already. A language, speech, vision, document intelligence. Okay, and then from there, later we'll be discussing how you'll be able to access these services. Okay. So I've done a demo on creating the Azure AI multi-service resource. So later you'll see how we will be using those to access the different services within Azure. Okay, let's talk about natural language processing. So what is this all about? So past 2 weeks, we discussed machine learning, and then we discussed computer vision. So this week, we'll be discussing what NLP is. So NLP, natural language processing, is a subfield of AI that focuses on the interaction between computers and humans using natural language. So a lot of people probably have been intrigued about AI because of ChatGPT. And if you look at it, ChatGPT is under this domain, this subfield of AI. Machine learning, computer vision, obviously ChatGPT doesn't focus on that area, but ChatGPT, this is where this is the subfield of AI that ChatGPT is in. But take note, I will not be discussing Microsoft's investment in OpenAI, the company that created that model. So I'll be discussing that next week. So feel free to join in next week to discuss more, because it's a more in-depth study on how Azure AI will implement ChatGPT for your own data. No? So the result of Microsoft's investment in OpenAI is that you will be able to access the different models of OpenAI. So one of them would be GPT, DALI, and Codex for your business, for your own business data. So the reason why we did this was that if you use GPT right now, so let's say after it's banned in, so let's just give an example. Samsung, for example, banned the use of ChatGPT for its employees. There's a note that was given publicly circulated. And the reason for that was that in ChatGPT, you can upload your source codes. You can upload your codes, and you can let the system fix the bugs for you, so your code issues for you. The thing was, every time you upload your data into the public ChatGPT, you're practically giving your company information out to the public. So every time you give information there, you're actually retraining the model for them. No? So any confidential information, whether it be contracts, whether it be company information, source codes, if you upload them, you're providing it to them for free. So that is why it's been banned. It has been banned in a lot of countries and by a lot of companies. So what Microsoft did was that they invested in OpenAI, and as a result of that investment, you are now allowed to create Azure AI, Azure OpenAI resources. So what does that entail? What will happen here is that you'll have your private ChatGPT, quote unquote, private, for your company data. In other words, every time you use that system, you know that the data is not being circulated outside. So now you can use if Samsung had that, they can use their own source codes. They can upload it to their own private open Azure ChatGPT, and then from there access all the features that ChatGPT can offer. So that will be a separate discussion next week. So, but this week we'll be discussing everything else besides ChatGPT. Okay. So the first one we'll be discussing is Azure AI Language. So Azure AI Language is a cloud-based service that provides natural language processing with features for understanding and analyzing text. So we'll be discussing each and every of these. So there are two main models now. First would be the pre-configured model, and the second one would be a custom model. When I say pre-configured, so which later I will demo it to you, don't worry. I will just need to go through each and every one so that you understand what these are, so that you understand how each of these can probably help you in your business in the future, so that you know that it's readily available within Azure. So the pre-configured model is that once you set up your own Azure multi-service resource, you have access to all of these without even needing to train anything. No? So that's what a pre-configured model is. Pre-configured model would mean that Azure has already trained millions of data sets for you, and all you need to do is to use them for your basic data sets, for your company data sets rather. The custom models are a little bit different. So custom models mean that you need to customize it for your own business, no? Because there's some pre-configured models that obviously not everything will fulfill your business needs. So you create custom models for that. So what are these pre-configured models? So you have named entity recognition, PII and health information detection, language detection, and all of these. So let's discuss them further. Okay, so what is named entity recognition? So by definition, it's a pre-configured feature. So again, you don't need to do any training. All you need to do is to enter your original text. So in this case, I had a wonderful trip to Seattle last week. So you input it to the system. And then from here, you want to know all the entities from that document. So in this example, it's just one sentence. You can have here as like 1,000 sentences. And then from there, you want them to tell you what are the different events, what are the different locations, and what are the different date and times. So in this case, what are the different named entities. It can be people, events, places, dates, and a lot more. So if you go through the documentation, there's a lot of entities that they will provide. And all you need to do is to provide all of your text or hundreds of documents. And then from there, they will be able to identify all of the different entities. So in this case, for this original text, I had a wonderful trip to Seattle last week. It was able to identify what the event is, what the location is, and what the date time is. And then you also have a pre-configured feature called PAI and PHI information detection. So PAI would be personally identifying information, and then PHI would be on the help part. So again, this is a pre-configured feature. So all you need to do is to use it as well. So what will happen is that if you provide them text or a document, for example, your business use case would be, I want to get in all of these documents all the health information of my clients. So that system will do it for you. No. So in this case, or what you can do also is, I have all of these documents. I have 100 documents. Before I give it to my client, because these documents contain a lot of sensitive information, I want to redact them, meaning I want to black them out before I give them to my customer. Let's say you're working with another vendor, subcontracting, but all of these 100 documents have very sensitive information. So all you need to do is to have all these 100 documents placed into the system, and then Azure will automatically redact and remove all the sensitive information for you. So that's also possible. So in this case, you had this text here in which the system was automatically able to get the URL, the phone number, and even the email. So in this case, let's say that you have a business scenario wherein you have 100 documents, and in all those documents, you don't know if there are some emails that you don't want to be shared. So you just enter it in the system, and then from there, the system will be able to deduct all of these emails for you. So that's what this feature is all about. Then you have language detection. So this one's pretty much clear. No need to explain what this is about, but you just provide them a document or a text, and then it will detect what language the document has been written in. Sentiment analysis and opinion mining. This is a very interesting feature. So let's say you have a customer service website, or any website for that matter, wherein you ask for opinions or for feedback after. So normally that's the case when you access a service. So let's say you're shopping online, and then they ask you for an opinion or a survey. What will happen is that this sentiment analysis and opinion mining feature, what the system will tell you is the feedback, whether it be positive, negative, and you can even associate them with specific aspects of the text. So for example, in this sentence, the food and service were unacceptable. So it will tell you that, okay, the sentiment was 99% negative. And then from there, these are the opinions that was given, the food and the service. No? So imagine you have thousands of opinions given out. You can have the system tell you out of the 1,000, how many are positive, neutral, or negative. When you say neutral, it would be a mixed sentiment. For example, if you provide in the sentence here, the food and service were acceptable, but I liked the server. He was very very how do you call this? Very hospitable. So that's a mixed sentiment, because you have a positive and you have a negative feedback. So that's where the neutral will come in. Okay. But for there, in that example, so the food and service are unacceptable, but the server was hospitable. What will happen is that the sentiment will be neutral, and then in the opinions, you'll have a new one called server, wherein the assessment would be positive. No? And then you have summarization. So imagine you have, again, if you're, let's say, a law firm or a hospital, and you have hundreds of contracts or hundreds of opinions, and then you want to have all of them summarized. So Azure AI language will do that for you. So don't worry, we'll demo this later. We'll demo all of these, each and every one. But what will happen here is that if you provide them a document, Azure will try to summarize it for you. So a good use case for this would be on call center transcriptions. So let's say you had a conversation with an agent. So they're actually, when you hear that this voice, this call will be recorded, what will happen is that if they have an AI feature, the voice recording will first be translated into text. So that's the speech, Azure speech module, which we'll be discussing in the next slides. And then from there, once the voice recording has been converted into text, what will happen is that the text will then be summarized in order to determine, one, what was the summary of the call, and then two, we'll go back to the sentiment analysis and opinion mining, wherein the system will tell you if the discussion was positive, negative, or mixed, and then from there they'll even discuss what were the things that were the topics that were discussed. So that would be the opinion. Okay, so that's actually two features three features rather, that call center transcription. So we'll also show that later, don't worry. So with call center transcription, you need to first convert the speech into text, and then from there summarize it, and then from there do a sentiment and opinion analysis. And then you also have key phrase extraction. Within key phrase extraction, you have a text here. So Pike Place Market is my favorite Seattle attraction. So it will try to detect all of the key phrases that you want within a document. So that's what this key phrase extraction is all about. And then entity linking. So once you get all of the key phrases, it will try to determine if there is a link in Wikipedia. So in this case, so Microsoft was founded by Bill Gates and Paul Allen on April 4. So what will happen is that each and every entity, they will try to see if there's a link to Wikipedia, in which case you will see it here, and then you can click on that. And then for those who are focused on the health industry, so we also have a special pre-configured feature. So imagine that you have multiple doctors providing different prescriptions, or you have a research agency providing all of these assessments. So what will happen is that the text analytics for health will be able to get all of this information, and if you want to put them in a database, no problem, they'll be able to do it for you. So in this case, they're able to identify the medication name, the diagnosis, what the class is, the treatment, the diagnosis, etc. Okay. Okay, so before I go to the custom model, so let's go through all of these, then I'll show you the demos for each and every one. So on the custom model side, so again, pre-configured was something that Azure has already done for you. So all the training is done. All you need to do is to use it for your business workloads. Then custom models, if you want to have something more custom just for your business. So one example would be custom text classification. So in this example, imagine that you have thousands and thousands of documents, and you want to classify if each document is under computer science, another is under sports, and another is into under health industry, and another would be, for example, on celebrities. No, so you can do that. What will happen is that you will upload all of these documents, and then for each document, you need to tell them, okay, for this document, it's a computer science document. For one document, it's about celebrities. Another document is about sports. So what will happen is that using machine learning, which we discussed in the first week, the system will be able to classify each and every document for you. So that's what custom text classification is. So creating custom models to to classify all your different documents. And then you have your own custom named entity recognition. So do recall, we have a pre-configured name entity recognition in which they will be able to know what the people are, the different events, the places. But of course, each and every company will have their own custom named entities. So in this case, you are actually a lending firm and you have your own borrower name. Obviously, borrower name is a separate entity. So obviously, Microsoft Azure would not know anything about it. So, and then a lender name, a lender city. So from there, what will happen is you will train the system on these models. So in this example, you put the date here, and this is the loan agreement, and then the different parties. So Parker McLean with a mailing address of this address. Okay, so let's read through this document here. So Parker McLean with a mailing address of 1234 Main Road, City, okay, State of Nebraska. The borrower, Dylan Williams with a mailing address of 7890 Mail Street, the lender. So from there, through training, the system will automatically tell you who is the lender name, what is their address, and who's the borrower name, who's the borrower, the name, and then the specific address. Okay. And then you have conversational language understanding. So this is where workloads like Cortana, so that's Microsoft Cortana, or for those who use Amazon Alexa. So this is where this will come into play. So conversational language understanding is trying to understand, as you can see here in this statement, predict the overall intention of an incoming utterance and extract important information from it. So in this example, this is a booking website. So imagine that you have a booking website and you have a voice feature in that website, wherein through voice commands, you can ask them to create functions for you. So in this case, the utterance is, I want to book a flight from New York to London on December 1st. Okay, so that's the utterance. Okay, that's the intention. That's my intention is I want to book a flight. So my utterance is I want to book a flight from New York to London. What will happen here is that the system will try to understand what is your intent, in which case it's book flight. Okay, so book flight here can be a function within the website to actually book a flight for you. So it can be turn off the lights. So that intent would be turning off the lights. Okay, and then turning it on, you say I want my lights to be on. So you don't need to say turn on the lights. I can say I want the lights to be on, and then it will also determine that it's the same intent, which is to turn on the lights. No, so I'll try to do a demo for this if you have time at the end. Okay, but this one I'll be demoing. So later we'll showing you an Azure Chatbot, wherein using question answering, every time you ask the chatbot any question from anything that you've trained it to, and then the system will try to respond for you. Okay, so that's question answering. So for conversation language understanding, this is to determine what your utterance is through voice or even through text, and then from there try to determine what is the top intent. For question answering, every time you ask a question, it will try to give a response. So those are two different topics. And then you have your custom text analytics for health, wherein if you have your own medical firm with specific requirements on health, then you can do it here. Okay, so let's do a demo. But if you notice, for those who are still, this is the first time you've attended Azure's my course on Azure AI. The past 2 weeks, you've been seeing all of these different studios. No, so there's a Azure Machine Learning Studio, there's an Azure Custom Vision Studio, Azure AI Vision Studio, and all of these other studios. The studio here is to help non-developers access the services. Okay, so that's the beauty of how Azure has done it, how Microsoft has done it. It's trying to help non-developers access these services very easily. So let's give you a demo on this for you to see. So once you click on this link, so language.cognitive.azure.com. Okay, so I'll show it here. So this is the language studio. So as you can see, I have all of these different services that I created. Okay, so I created a language service. I created a multi-service resource. Okay, so let's demo first how to create your own. So we demoed earlier how to create a multi-service resource. If you want to create a specific resource, here's how you do it. So from here, I want to create a language resource. Okay, you'll see here language service. And then from here, you just click create. Okay, and then just click on this. So let's say I want to have my own bot later. So let's do this exercise. Okay, so you just need to fill up all of these things. To be honest, you don't need to. Okay, so let's just do it quickly. Sample resource. Okay. Required information. Okay, so already used. Ziggy. Okay. Yeah, I've used too many free resources already. So I need to access a paid account. Okay. So anyway, I've created many free resources already. So for you, you need to choose the free one, obviously, so that you don't pay. But just for the purposes of this one, once I create this one, it will take time. But what will happen is you have all of these resources which I showed earlier. Okay. Different resource groups. Okay. So this was the sample AI resource which I showed earlier. So this was the result. Okay. So let's go to the actual demos. So here in Language Studio, you'll be able to access all of the features already. Okay, so let's talk about some features. Okay, so first one would be extract information. So let's try out this extract personally identifiable PII feature. Okay, so now here you can try out different models, no? So you can enter your own text. So in this case, let's do a sample here at the bottom. So legal NDA test. Okay. So from here, okay, so enter some text to try out, and then you need to enter the text. In this case, I just chose this one, the legal NDA. And then what I'll do is I want to extract all the protected health information. And then from here, I want to acknowledge that this demo will incur usage, but don't worry, this will be free for you. And then I'll click run. Okay, so from here, it actually gave the result. So in this text, it was able to determine what's the date time, the person type, it's an employee, what organization, Contoso, who's the person, Mateo Gomez. Okay, so it was able to get all of the information already. Okay, so let's actually modify it a bit. So let's say an employee of Ziggy Corporation. Hi, Ziggy Zueta. Okay. Okay, let's put here in 123 Hollywood Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. Let's say, let's put there Philippines. It will happen. Okay, click on run. So in this case, as you can see, my corporation is now Ziggy. The person is now Ziggy Zulueta. So it's able to get all of these information. So no, so it actually works. If you change, so let's have another example. This would be a medical report. In this case, let's change the name of this caretaker to Ziggy Zulueta. Let's see what happens. Okay. And click on run. So there, it was able to detect Ziggy Zulueta as well. So yeah, I mean that's how getting the PII information is. So let's do another demo. So you want to extract, let's say, key phrases. So here you can do so as well. Click on let's need legal NDA, and you get all the key phrases. So what are the key phrases? 1234 Hollywood Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, the social security number, the email address, the restaurant, and so on and so forth. So imagine that you have, let's say you have thousands of documents and you want to search all of them through you want to have your own search engine for your company and you want to search all of them. So what will happen is all of these 1,000 documents will be inputted into AI and all of these key phrases will be accessible through a database wherein every time you search all of them, you'll be able to get results of the different documents. No? So that's the purpose of this use case. So next week, we'll be doing a demo on how knowledge mining will be able to do that. So for knowledge mining to happen, you need to have these key phrases in, okay, to be inputted in your search index. So that every time you search, let's say, Contoso restaurant, this document will be given out as one of the search results now. And then you have find linked entities. So in this case, if you recall, find linked entities is to have Wikipedias for everything that you want. No? So in this case, social security number, there's a Wikipedia for it. Hollywood Boulevard, there's a Wikipedia for it. Chicken Parmigiana. I wonder what this is about. So there, it'll give you what chicken Parmigiana is. So what was the... So yeah, I made a purchase about a chicken Parmigiana dish at Contoso restaurant. So that was the result. Okay. And then from here, you can extract named entities. So in this example, let's have a banking example. I'll click run. So from here, you had this text. And then what will happen is it gave all of the named entities. Okay, phone number, address, product, date, time, so on and so forth. Okay. Now, you can classify text. So here's the analyze sentiment and mine opinions feature. So here, let's do a service review. Okay, long waits, but for good reason. Some awesome Italian food and great vibes. Contoso Bistro always has live music. The lasagna is a classic. So imagine you put your long wait, and then if the system would you'd probably say, oh, it's a negative sentiment, but this should be positive. Let's see what will be the result. Okay, so it's 91% positive, 8% neutral, 1% negative. So okay, long waits. So what will happen is each and every sentence there's a specific analysis. So long waits. From here, some awesome Italian food and great vibes. So what does the sentiment is positive opinion, the Italian food, and then the vibes. Okay. Contoso Bistro has live music or events going on to keep you entertained. Okay. So let's make a sample. Let's say okay, actually I went to this Japanese restaurant last night and it was not very good. So let's make a review for it. I went to Nihon last night. The server was unattentive. Inattentive. Okay. Server was inattentive. My food ordered took a long time. The salmon sashimi was not fresh, and the yakitori was overcooked. I provided feedback, but the server did not bother about the feedback. Okay, so let's run this. So I went to Neon last. So overall sentiment, the overall document is that it's negative. So I went to Neon last night. Obviously, it's neutral. Server was inattentive, so obviously 97%. And then what's the opinion? I had the opinion on the server. My food ordered took a long time, so negative again. Well, neutral. So neutral, I guess is. And then salmon sashimi was not fresh. So the opinion was on the salmon sashimi, 97% negative. Yakitori was overcooked. So again, it was negative. And I made an opinion on the yakitori. And I provided feedback, but the server did not bother, so it was a negative as well. So there you can see, no? So imagine that you're in a restaurant, you have a restaurant business, and you want to understand what was the sentiment in each and every item that you have. So in this case, your salmon, your yakitori. So you'll be able to see that as well in the system, no? So if you want to mine all of this information, you'll be able to do so. Okay, so that's the imagine, by the way, so this is pre-configured. I did not do any training. The system was able to provide that for you. Okay. So all you need to do is to use the service. Okay. The tech language, so that's pretty easy. So you just put any language there. So in this case, this document is in English. Obviously, it will say it's 99% English. If you put a document here that's French, if you run it, it will say what will be the language. And then Chinese as well. It can read obviously Chinese. And then you have a mixed language here. So imagine that you have this, which is okay, so this English, this is Espanol, and this is I don't know what this is, but this is French. So it will run. So it's so yeah, I think what will happen here is that it will tell you the language that is most dominating. So in this case, this one here is in Spanish, I believe. So that's why it gave here a Spanish with a low confidence level. So that's where the confidence level will take into consideration. So if it's a high confidence level, so for example, for this one, French, 100%, then that's something that you need to specify in your parameters that if it's below, let's say 90%, then that's something that it's already mixed and you will not accept, for example. Okay, so understanding questions and conversation understanding. So this one will take a while. Actually, I'll demo this in the last part of the session on answering questions. So yeah, so that quickly demos what the Azure Language Studio service is. So notice that any development work, just using the studio, you'll be able to access all of these features. And then from there, so it's one thing to access them, it's another to use them in an actual business setting. And this is where you'd need development work, in which if you go through the course on Azure AI 102 to become an Azure AI engineer, that's where it will help. They will help you try to create all of these models and make them live into production for your business workloads. So let's go with Azure AI Speech. So Azure AI Speech is a service that does a lot of things. One is it describes speech to text with high frequency, accuracy. Another is to produce natural sounding text to speech voices. Another is to translate spoken audio, and another is to use speaker recognition during conversations. So if you look at it, all the features that Microsoft Teams offers when it comes to transcribing. So right now, our session is being recorded, and there will be a transcription at the end of this recording. What will happen is that Microsoft Teams is actually using Azure AI Speech for that. Okay, so transcribing speech to text with high accuracy. So the transcription that happens at the end during the recording. So after every time I'm talking right now, there's a transcription that's occurring during the recording. They're using Azure AI Speech for that. There's also a feature wherein you have captions in Microsoft Teams. So every time I'm speaking, there'll be a captions. In fact, I can set it, but for the purposes of not to bother you guys on the captions, but those captions are actually using Azure AI Speech as well. So later we'll discuss what that is. Speaker recognition, an example would be if we are in a crowd, or let's say in a Microsoft Teams meeting, and a lot of people are talking. So Azure AI Speech will recognize who you are in that conversation. So let's say there are three of us talking alternately, and then from there, AI Speech will tell you who that person is. So that's speaker recognition. So within Azure Speech, there are three major. So put it on two, and then the others. So the first major one is speech recognition. So that's translating speech into text. So you have two options. Either you do it real time or you do it asynchronously. So asynchronously would be something not real time, obviously. So real time speech to text. This is where what Microsoft Teams is actually using. So the audio here is transcribed as speech is recorded. So the audio that you get from the microphone within Microsoft Teams, for example. So what are the use cases? So laser pointer, transcriptions, captions, or subtitles for live meetings. And then diarization. Diarization is to determine which person that is in the conversation. So if there are three of them, to determine if it's A, B, or C. Okay, so obviously Microsoft Teams uses these two. Pronunciation assessment, I'll do a demo later. So this pronunciation assessment is to determine if, let's say, imagine that you're teaching English as a second language to Koreans, and then you want them to read a specific document, and the system will tell you how many percent that person was able to pronounce the words correctly. So that's pronunciation assessment. So if you're trying to practice your speech, your English, for example, or your French, or your Spanish, you can do that in the system. No, you can create that using pronunciation assessment. And then contact center agent assist. So that's where the opinion mining will come in as well earlier in the session. No, so every time you're talking, you can have the speech determined in real time if it's positive or negative feedback in real time, and so on and so forth. No, batch transcription, if you want to transcribe a large amount of audio in storage. So real time, obviously, you only have one at a, you can only process in real time what's happening, which I'm talking right now. For example, you want to do that. But for batch transcription, let's say that you have 100 call center scenarios, so 100 call center recordings rather, and you want to transcribe them, and then have an analysis on what was the main discussion, so which we discussed earlier, and then if it's a positive or negative sentiment. So by the way, let's do a demo on that call center transcription later when I do a demo on this. So text to speech. So speech to text is speech recognition. So that's converting audio into text. Okay. Text to speech is the opposite. We call it speech synthesis. It's converting text into audio to speech. Okay. So in this one, you have two options. So the first option would be having pre-built neural voices. So when I say pre-built, these are available voices already for you. custom neural voice is different. Let's say you want to have your own, let's say you're a company, you have your own building, or let's say you want to make an announcement for your company, but you want to have your own voice that represents your company. So let's say I'm a CEO right now, and then or I'm the mayor, and then I want to have my chatbot for my city, but I want that chatbot to be using the mayor's voice. So what will happen is, if you've watched Mission Impossible a lot, you'll have the mayor read 25 sentences, and then from there the system will create a neural voice using those recordings. And then from there, every time you have a skit or a document, and then you run that neural voice, that it's like the mayor talking for you. No, so that's how custom neural voice is. If you want to create a voice for your own brand or product, so that's custom neural voice. And then again, I showed you the different other features. So pronunciation assessment to evaluate the pronunciation, and to give speakers feedback on the accuracy and fluency of their speech, and then speech translation. So as the word implies, to translate, for example, my voice right now, my whatever it is I'm saying, into different languages. Okay. So again, if you notice, if you've been attending the past 2 sessions as well, previous weeks, there's always a studio for everything. So we had a studio for language, and we have a studio now for speech. And again, what are the purpose of these studios? Is for you to access all of these services easily without any development work. So let's go with the demo on what this speech studio is. Okay. All right. So so for language studio, it's this link. So don't worry, I will share this recording for you to access all of these studios. So obviously, you need to log in to your free account. Okay. So you need to create a free account, by the way, for you to access this. So once you've created the account, you log into the studio, and then you can play around with all of these things. And again, since you have free credits, don't worry. You'll be able to access all of these for free during the time that you are testing all of these. So for Speech Studio, so this is the URL. And then from here, you have all of these capabilities here. So let's do a demo on the captioning with speech to text. Okay, so in this one, obviously, as the word implies, you need to caption. So let's play a video here. So, sorry. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sharing. I think, let me share my sound here. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's play this again.
When it comes to the neural TTS, in order to get a good voice, it's better to have good data.
So as you see, when I'm playing this, so this is a sample video. So you can upload, by the way, your own videos. But here we're using a sample one that they provided. Every time you play the video, it's automatically providing captions. No, so that's the captioning feature. Now, okay, this one will be the interesting part. So post call center transcription and analytics with Azure Speech and Language. So imagine you have BPOs or call centers wherein they want to analyze each and every recording, no? So obviously it's going, if you have a lot of clients and you have a lot of calls, and let's say you want to grade each and every agent, it will be difficult to go through each and every recording. So what you'll do is that you upload it into Azure, and then from there it will determine the different analysis, no? So let's go with this applying for a loan scenario. Okay. I don't know what a dual channel. Honestly, I'm not familiar what single channel audio is and dual channel audio, but let's start with this dual channel audio. Let's play this.
Hello, thank you for calling Contoso. Who am I speaking with today? Hi, my name is Mary Rondo. I'm trying to enroll myself with Contuso.
Hi, Mary. Are you calling because you need health insurance?
Yes, yeah, I'm calling to sign up for insurance.
Great. If you can answer a few questions, we can get you signed up in a jiffy.
Okay, so I'll pause here. So what are the things that happen? So one is I can hide my, so there's a feature obviously. So we discussed how to get PII, personally identifiable information. So you can hide it. So obviously, but if you want to show it, you can show it. If you want to hide it. So obviously, this feature here is already using the Azure AI language we discussed earlier on PII. Okay. So there's an option to redact it and option to show it and then option to hide it. Okay. The other feature that you'll see is that, let's say you want to assess if the agent is always positive. So obviously you want to have agents, you have a BPO company, you want to have agents who are talking to customers in the right manner. So from here, it's already telling you through the intonation if it's positive or negative. So let's go back again. No?
Oh, thank you for calling Contoso. Who am I speaking with today?
Hi, my name is Mary Rondo. I'm trying to enroll myself with Contuso.
Hi, Mary. Are you calling because you need health insurance?
Yes, yeah, I'm calling to sign up for insurance.
Great. If you can answer a few questions, we can get you signed up in a jiffy.
Okay.
So what's your full name?
So Mary Beth Rondo, last name is R like.
So I'll not go through the whole recording, but what will happen is that each and every sentence, they'll tell you if it's a neutral, positive, or negative sentiment. So there's a scenario here of why it's probably negative. Okay, and then in the end, you have a call summary. So in this call summary, what was the summary? So the customer wants to sign up for insurance, and then from there, the customer is advised that the application will be submitted in 24 hours. So there's can be a refilling pharmacy scenario. So in this scenario here, it's about helping a customer fill the prescription and inform the customer the prepaid subscription was canceled. No? So you can go through each and every recordings in your own free time. So you can play around with these studios. So that's what call center transcription is. So imagine use cases for this in call centers, BPOs, or any customer service branch of any organization. So in terms of speech to text, okay, so this is okay, real-time speech to text. Let's try this out. So in this case, I will do a recording of myself. So record audio with the microphone. So let's put here, since I'm into the NBA, let's put here in here LeBron James. Okay. So what I'll do is I will read this sentence here. Okay. So I'll read the sentence here. Okay, and I'll record myself reading the sentence. Let's see what will happen. LeBron James Sr., also known as Bron for short, is an American professional basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers of the National Basketball Association, NBA. Nicknamed King James, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport and is often compared to Michael Jordan in debates over the greatest basketball player of all time. So there, no? So what happened was I was speaking. So obviously, there's an issue with my pronunciation, so I was not able to get all of them correctly. But so yeah, I was able to get most of it, no? So that's how real-time speech to text would happen. So we did the recording of my voice here as a sample, and it was able to transcribe it quickly, no? So that's an example of speech to text. Batch speech to text again. So this is uploading a humongous number of audio files. So I don't have them right now, but if you have, for example, if you want to play around with this feature, you have 10 different recordings. You can upload it and it will do the batch recording, a batch transcription for you. Okay. Oh, so pronunciation assessment. So this is where So what will happen here is that, okay, you will read this, and then it will try to tell you if it was, what do you call this? If it was pronounced properly or not. So imagine it's, let's say you have a business wherein you want to teach Japanese or Koreans English, and then from there you want them to talk, and then you want to have the system determine if you are um, saying each word correctly. No, so let's record my audio for this. So let's see if I will pass this. Today was a beautiful day. We had a great time taking a long walk outside in the morning. The countryside was in full bloom, yet the air was crisp and cold. Towards the end of the day, clouds came in, forecasting much needed rain. Okay, so maybe they told me that there's some mispronunciation on two words, but whatever it is, my score was high, so good, no? So yeah, so there, no? So you, you can play with all around each of these things, or you can even enter your own. So let's say, let's put the LeBron James example here. You can do that. So let's remove these things. LeBron James, you know what? You need to remove this open close parenthesis. Okay. Okay, so let's try this out. LeBron James Sr. Oh, sorry, still preparing. Okay, this one's taking a while. So what will happen here is that since we enter their own text, the system is trying to analyze it first before you can set your what do you call this? You can before you can try it out. So obviously, if you have your own system, you need to pre-train this before you provide it to your customer. So this one is taking a while. I wonder why. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, let's go to others. Let's play with others. Let's demo others. So speech translation. So this one here, you can interesting. Okay, so let's try to choose a spoken language. Let's try here Filipino and convert it to English. Let's see how. Mabuhay. Try mo ngang i-translate ito sa Ingles. Okay. So yeah, it was able to translate whatever it is that I was saying earlier into English. No? So it was a Filipino sample, and it was able to translate it into English. So you can play around again with these things. So yeah, if you know other languages, feel free to test this out and then to see how accurate they are. Okay. So by the way, so obviously we're only here to focus on the different capabilities. So we're not here to teach how to develop. That's for in another discussion, in another session. But if you do want to have this developed out in a system, this is where you'll do it. So there's some next steps here and some things that you can do. So each and every studio, they'll provide you next steps. So you can have you have some sample code here. You'll have all of the endpoints. So this is if you want to make an API call. So I will not discuss what an API is for those who are not knowledgeable about it. But in general, it's having your developer access this endpoint, and then the resource key would be the user. It's like a username, a password rather. So the endpoint is the username, and then this resource key is like a password, wherein you'll be able to access the resource, and then from there you'll be able to get the result. Okay. Okay. So that's on. We discussed pronunciation assessment. I wonder if the enter your own is already available. Oh, it's gone. All right. Let's see again if maybe there was a problem earlier. So normally when you're using these test scenarios, you're obviously not using a production workload. So as a result, there are some times that it will not be available. Yeah, so it's taking a while, so let's not focus into that anymore. Here's text to speech. Okay, so text to speech again, no. So as you recall in the previous discussion, so we discussed what these we showed samples on speech to text, and then text to speech you have pre-built and you have custom. Okay, so here in this voice gallery, these are the available voices that you have. So you have a catalog. They're providing you a catalog. Okay, so let's choose, for example, okay, let's choose here the language. So you can choose, speakers on different languages. So let's say let's look for somebody who speaks in French. Okay, let's look for somebody in French. Okay, let's first start with English because I don't know French anyway. So English United States. So let's say here I want to have this guy here. So there's a sample here, no?
Bitcoin's high coincided with the stock market debut of Coinbase Global Incorporated, the biggest U.S. cryptocurrency exchange.
So those are samples that you can play with. So what will happen is, what you can do is audio content creation. So what is this about? So let's say I want to create a scenario here, okay, in which I will put in the LeBron James text. Okay, so let's remove these things here. Okay, all right. So let's run it. So in this case earlier, so with audio content creation, you can choose which voice you want. Okay, so for example, I'll choose the guy, and then from there I'll run this. But there's a lot of parameters here. I will not go through each and every one. You can play through this because for the interest of the time, we will not go through each and every setting. But if you want this guy here to talk about this sentence, this is the result.
LeBron Raymond James Sr., also known as Bron for short, is an American professional basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers of the National Basketball Association, NBA. Nicknamed King James, he is widely regarded as one of the
So yeah, so you can have different people speaking. So this one's a female.
greatest players in the history of the sport and is often compared to
Okay, let's change this.
LeBron Raymond James Sr., also known as Bron for short, is an American.
So yeah, obviously, as you can see, some of the voices are not sounding like a person. So some of them sound like a bot, but that's how it is. So it's pre-configured already. So you need to choose which of the voices you like from each of these sample sets. No. So for example, Elizabeth.
Cloth masks are most effective at filtering out larger droplets.
So yeah. Now, if you want to create your own, this is where the custom voice will come in. So in this scenario, you will choose if it's a light or a pro, and then you'll have all of these different requirements. So for a light, you need to have 20 to 50 recorded utterances. For a pro, more professional one, you need to have 300 to 2,000 recorded utterances. So in the scenario earlier, let's say you want to have the mayor, the mayor wants to have his own voice recorded and to put it in a chatbot, then he need to undergo this 300 recorded utterances in which the system will, through machine learning, which we discussed in the first week, the system will train itself on that, and then from there create your pro custom neural voice now. So this is where the training will happen. Okay. So what else didn't that cover? Okay. So yeah, that's about it for the demo on speech. Now finally, so we discussed language, we discussed speech. Let's go with translation. So with AI Translator, This actually powers, again, many of the Microsoft products that we have. For those who probably do not know, there is a translation feature in Microsoft Word. So yeah, let's demo that actually. Then you can translate in Microsoft Word. It actually uses Azure AI Translator. Okay, so if make a black document here, let's say hello. Let's translate this. So yeah, just a translate document feature here, in which from English to Filipino, translate, kamusta na? So yeah, so this one uses Azure AI Translator. Also, the translation features of Microsoft Teams also uses Azure. So that's what Azure AI Translator is all about, which is in general translating thousands of languages into different languages. And there are actually three types. First one would be text translation, and then another one would be document translation, and then finally a custom translator. So obviously, again, as you'd probably notice, there's a pre-configured and a custom. So obviously, text translation and document translation is already configured for you. Custom translator, if you want to have your specific translations for your company needs. No. So what is this text translation? So you have a lot of these different features. So one would be obviously first to determine if the language is supported or not. And then you have this translate feature, wherein this is the basic one that we all know, translate from one language to the other, and then transliterate. So what is this transliterate? It's to, obviously Japanese and Chinese are characters. So to convert a Japanese character to a Chinese character, that's transliterate. Translate would be the different other languages that does not need characters. So Cyrillic, for example, would go into transliterate as well. Dictionary lookup and dictionary example. This actually interesting because I forgot that this one actually existed. No, in other words, in the sample, what will happen is that you provide words and then it will provide you synonyms, okay, or equivalent words, and then it will also give you an example of what how can you can use it in your own language or in a sentence. No, so Azure also provides that feature. And then you have document translation features. So in these document translation features, so again, I recall there are three: text, document, and custom. So for text, we discussed this. And then here, this is where we discuss document translation. In document translation, you can translate a large number of documents. So translate large is to translate the whole document asynchronously. So when you say asynchronously, you have it translate and it will take a while. So you can do whatever other work on the side. Translate numerous files is obviously, self-explanatory. Translate a lot of them into different languages. Preserve source file preservation is to translate the file while preserving the layout and format. And then apply custom translation. We'll discuss that in the next slide. And then even custom glossaries if you want to translate documents using custom glossaries. Okay. And then translate documents with content in multiple languages. So this one uses an auto detect feature to translate documents with content in multiple languages into your target language. So what does it imply? So let's say that you are a multinational company in which you have feedback coming from different languages. So for example, your Amazon or Shopee, for example, and then you're getting a feedback in French, you're getting feedback in Spanish, you're getting feedback in Italian. What will happen is in this use case, for example, you want to have all of these feedback assessed on number one, if it's positive or negative, and number two, what was the feedback given. No, so if you recall earlier, I made feedback on the yakitori, I made feedback on the sashimi, so I want to get that as well. Before that can happen, they all need to be translated into one language, into one source language, because this is where where your system is set in. So in this case, the French, Italian, and Spanish, for example, and your company's Amazon, obviously the target should be English. You want to translate all of them to English first. So that's the first thing you need to do. So that's where Azure Translator will come in. And then from there, you need to use the Azure AI language feature on sentiment analysis and opinion mining, which we discussed in the previous slide. So you need to translate it first and then use the other service. You need to use the Azure AI Translator first and then use the Azure AI language after. So again, now, if you recall, when we discussed the resources, if you want to have just one resource, you can use the Azure AI multi-service resource. But if you want to track usage across the different services, then you can create two. So to do the translation, you use Azure AI Translator first. And then to do the opinion mining and sentiment analysis, then that's the time you use the Azure AI language resource. So to do a demo on creating all of these resources, so we go to the portal again. So here I have this so the first thing you need to do is also to create a resource group. So a resource group is nothing but just a container to contain all the different resources that you have. So for this one, I created one because I know that I'll just delete it after. And if you want to create the different resources, you just search them here in the marketplace. You need to click on Azure Services only because in the marketplace, there are also different companies providing their own services and they will not be free. So you go with Azure. And then from here, language, just search for language. And then this is the language service. You search for translator. And this is the Azure Translators resource. If you want speech, you just search speech, and then you have the Azure Speech resource here. And then if you want to have the AI service, the multi-service resource, you click on Azure AI Service. Then obviously don't forget to click on this Azure Services Only checkbox, and then you see the Azure AI Services here. So again, no, you only need this not to just do development, but to have to play around in the studio. So in the studio, I was not able to show you. In each of these studios, what will happen is you'll have a cog here. If you have a resource, so here I have a multi-service resource. So the speech studio is automatically using it for you. So you don't need to do, since you just create it once, this automatically done, no? So we didn't do any setup whatsoever. I created a multi-service resource and it's automatically using it. So obviously in some of the demos, there might be some charges, but again, since you have the free credits, they will use the free credits for you. Okay, so no additional setup is needed. Okay. Again, for the language, for this one, I created a lot of resources. So I created all of these already, so I'll delete them after. But anyway, that's how everything works in the background, no? So you need to create these resources before you demo them. Okay, custom translation is all about having translations that are, pretty much for your own business. So as the word implies, it's building systems that only your business knows. So let's say there's some business terminology that obviously Azure will not know. So you need to train it you need to have your own company dictionary for the translator to occur for the translator to work properly. So for example, there's some company jargon that Azure obviously does not know, that only your company knows. Then this is where you need to do custom translation. So this is what this feature is all about. And then again, as you would notice, Microsoft has a very good way of creating all of these studios to make everything easy for you. You don't need to be a developer. If you want to play around with these things, you have your own, studio or portal to play with. No, so that's how good Microsoft is when it comes to trying to make it easy for everyone to use the service. And So these are actually all of the different portals or studios. So we discussed in the past 2 sessions, the past 2 weeks, what Machine Learning Studio is. So that was week 1. In week 2, we discussed what the Custom Vision Studio is and the Vision Studio, and even the Document Intelligence Studio. So last week, we discussed each and every item, what the different features are. So you can, go ahead and play around. It's actually, you'll spend a lot of time playing around. It's actually very interesting how these studios provide all of these, things that you can play around with to see the different functionalities. So, and then in this week, we discussed about the Language Studio, the Speech Studio, and Custom Translator Portal Studio. So we will not go through this custom translator because it will take a while to do it. The next week, we will be discussing about knowledge mining and OpenAI. So they have obviously their own studios as well. So there's a common theme here. So let's do a chatbot demo, no? So we want to have a real, let's have something real live and working that you can use for production. So let's do a demo on this. So in this example, okay. So for you to create a chatbot, you need to use the Azure Language Studio. Okay. So a chatbot is a custom question answering. So what's happening here is that I want to create my own chatbot wherein it's going to be providing questions for this. So the background here is that I'm talking to this city, and I want to show them a chatbot wherein, so this is the citizen charter of the city. And what's happening is that they want to have a chatbot wherein they want to know how to create how to apply for a business permit. Okay, how to apply for a business permit. They want to know more about the city, what are the taxes they need to pay, and so on and so forth. So this is actually the business scenario. But before I go into that, let me just show you how you create a simple bot. Okay, a simple chat bot. So the first thing you will do is you'll go to the question answering here. No? So you go here. You'll create a new project. Okay, in this case, we'll create a new project, sample chatbot. Okay. So default answer here would mean that if the chatbot does not know the answer, this is the default response. So let's put here, sorry, I do not know the answer. Okay, click on next, then create project. The first thing you need to do is you need to train the chatbot on different information that you want for it to answer. No, so URL. Okay, this is the beauty of it. All you need to do is to go to a URL, add it. So in this case, I want to train the chatbot on all of the free services of Azure here. So again, no, this website is a frequently asked questions website on Azure. So if you can see here, these are the questions, these are the answers, and there are a lot more. So there's actually a lot of questions here with different answers. What I'll do is I want to create a chatbot wherein anytime I ask a question about this, and the system will able to answer it. So all I need to do is in the add URL, I'll click on here, Azure FAQ, put the URL, add, and that's it. This will take a while because it's going to train itself, but the final result would be this one. Okay, let's go to the final result. So Language Studio. Hold on. What did I do? Okay. Yeah, leave here. So this is the final result. So this one here, it's loading, by the way. So the sample chatbot, I uploaded the URL. It's still loading, so that will take a while because it's training itself. This is the final result. Okay, so this is the link that we uploaded earlier. So as you can see, the system automatically created 40 question answer pairs. So what's that question answer pair? So this is the website, this is the question, this is the answer. And there are around 40 of them. Okay. So remember, no, I didn't do any typing. I just put in the URL and then the system automatically trained itself on that URL. So in other words, provide any website with a well-structured FAQ. It doesn't have to be a website, by the way. You can add, wait a sec, hold on a sec. You can add a file also. So it can be a PDF or it can be a Word document. So I will not sample this, but here in this example, we added just a URL, just a simple URL. So by the way, this is still training, so that's why I will not wait for the result. So the result is this one. From here, you can actually start testing already. Okay, can start testing already if the chatbot is responding or not. So in this case, let's ask a question. Do I need to pay anything to start with Azure? Okay, so I am new to Azure. Do I need to pay? So I'm new to Azure. Do I need to pay? So we'll notify you so you can decide if you want to move to pay as you go, etc., etc. So yeah, it was able to get that response based on this. So let's ask, is Azure free? So the Azure free account is available to all new Azure customers who hadn't previously had an Azure free account and receive a $200 credit. So where's that coming from? Is Azure free? Search that here. Where's the free? Okay. All right. So there are a lot of okay. Let's try to hone in on one. So who's eligible for the Azure free account? So how do I get, who can get an Azure free account? Okay, who can get an Azure free account? Okay, so this one here. So let's see. Yeah, so who is eligible? So this one here. So it corresponds. So you notice that in the question answering feature, when you ask a question, you do not need to ask the specific question in that FAQ website. So in this FAQ website, the question was, who is eligible? But using AI, the system is able to already link multiple questions against this. So in this case, I mean, a normal person would not use the word eligible, right? So in this example, I just asked here, who can get an Azure free account? And the system was able to correctly tag it in this question and answer pair. Okay, so that's what Azure AI will do, will help you with. Okay, so this is the custom questioning answering feature. Okay, so that's how easy it is. So once you have uploaded all your data, so you go here, the first thing obviously is to add your sources. So in this case, I want to add this website. And let's say I want to have another frequently asked questions website. All I need to do is to go to manage services, add the URL, and then add the URL here. So in this case, I want to add Power BI. Power BI in the mix, and then do that. And then I will click add. I will not do that because it will take a while. So what is this chit chat? The chit chat is basically the standard chit chat. Okay, right now there's no chit chat here. So let's say I will do a chit chat like hello. The system will say, I do not have an answer for that. I don't know what that is. Who are you? Nothing. Oh, says here Azure free account is available. Okay. But yeah, so the hello, hi, hello part. Sorry, I do not know the answer. So let's say, are you male or female, for example? Do not know the answer. Now, if you want to have an answer for that, this is where you add the chit chat. Okay, so in this case, I'll go to my source again, then chit chat, then add it. So I want to have a professional chit chat. And then you add it. Okay. So this will take a while as well. Okay, so the one that we uploaded earlier is already available. Okay, let's go to one that actually works. So in this case, I created one for that city that I showed earlier. So in this one, you have this document here, which is actually around 600 pages long, in which all the services about the city is there in the document. So what we did was we put all of this document inside the chatbot. So as you can see here in this sample, so by the way, okay, so in the earlier example, we uploaded the Azure and then we added the chit chat. Now, if you try to test it, so let's try to test it here. I'll test it. So earlier I was asking, who are you? Hello. I don't know the answer. So let's see if there's an answer now for hello. Hello. Are you male or female? See, so now there's a chatbot right now that is providing. The chatbot is now has such chit chat feature wherein anything you need to ask it, then there's already a response for it. So how do you boil an egg? Obviously, Shane, no, no, I don't need to eat. Okay, so so there, no, so there's that's the chit chat feature for you. So now let's actually go to the actual working model. So in this case, the frequently asked questions of this one here. So what I did was I converted this to a Word document, and then from there we added the question and answers. And as a result, so let's close this sample. So this is the actual working model for a production. You have the frequently asked questions of the city here. Okay. All right. So once you uploaded all of the information. So first one is obviously you need to add your sources. So I put in the chit chat and I put in the document. So this one I uploaded the Word document, not a URL this time. And then from here, I actually reviewed the knowledge base just to see if everything is working fine. So you can test it here. So what is Navota? So this was the city that we are talking to. So there's an answer already. Who is the mayor? So it provides responses. Then how do I get a business permit? So from here, it provides answers already. Okay. So now what we'll do is the next thing you'll do, you need to deploy it. So there's a deploy click link here. So let's go to one of the samples earlier, which we created. So we created this sample chatbot earlier, if you recall. So we uploaded the chit chat, we uploaded the URL. We tested it already. So this one we tested. So since we added the chit chat, all of a sudden, all of these other, yeah, have you met Alexa? Do you like Barcelona? Okay, so all of these, it's pre-configured already, obviously. Then the next thing is you need to deploy it. So you need to click on deploy here. Once you deploy this, it will try to deploy it into production, and this is the result. Okay, and then afterwards you'll have a create bot feature here. So you just need to click on this button, and what will happen is Azure will create a bot for you immediately. Okay, so the bot is actually here. So this bot is the one that they will create, in which once you have this bot, you can actually test it. Okay, so this is where what is Navotas? So the bot has been created. Who is the mayor? So I'm trying to simplify this for you, but obviously there will be some what do you call it, setup that you need to do eventually. But what will happen is this bot will be available in multiple channels. So these are the available channels. So in this example, I created a bot that is available through Facebook, through Microsoft Teams, through Outlook, to Telegram, to web chat. So let's demo it actually in a working model. So next week I'll be discussing what knowledge management is and what knowledge mining is and how OpenAI will help you. So this is the demo on it. I will not demo this feature because I'll demo it next week. But we have a chatbot here at the bottom. So imagine that you have a company, or in this case, the city, and they want to have their citizens search all the different, laws or circulars or announcements or anything for that matter. So there's a search website for that, and then from there, I want to have a chatbot at the very bottom for me to ask information about me as a citizen. No? So in this case, business permit. Let's see, I put in a business permit here. So obviously this one needed a lot more setup. So from here, I want to help the citizen, no, because a business permit can be a lot of things. Can be can be an online application. It can be in person. So each of these have different processes, and even a permit for Baklad din Tukungan. So actually that's more specific. So let's say I want to have an in-person application, and then from there it will ask you for it. No? So these are the things on this topic. So I have a bangka. How do I renew my bangka? So from here, again, it will give you different things. Do you want to register or you want to renew your bank's permit to operate? Then that's how it is now. So that's using AI. So normally in an old chatbot, back in the day when you have these chatbots, you only have a decision tree. So let's do one example of that. So this is one working in a website. And this is the same chatbot working in Facebook. No, so again, that's the beauty of Azure. It's an omni-channel bot. So in this day and age, you need to have just one bot that will work in Instagram, in WhatsApp, in Facebook, in your website, in Telegram, and all of these others, in Viber here in the Philippines. So with this one and same chatbot, you're able to deploy it in multiple channels. No, so in this case, in this example here, let's ask the same question for you to understand that this is the same bot. So let's put it here. I have a bangka. How do I renew for a bangka? And it will give you the same response because it's one and the same chatbot. No? So this how the omni-channel chatbot is. So we're actually asking it something conversational and it's providing a response for you. So let's give you an example of a chatbot that does not work that way. So I put in one company here that I found as an example. So yeah, so this company here. So they have a chatbot here, and if you ask him, so this company provides loans online, and I want to ask what is my interest rate because I'm gonna create a loan. So the problem with this chatbot here is it does not use AI. It only does a decision tree. So one is I need to, okay, so let's say I want to accept. Okay, let's accept the terms and agreements. So you can get your email address. Okay, let's give it an email address. Richard 123. Just give some email address here for you to demo what it looks like. Richard. Okay. So are you inquiring? So from here, it's what's happening is you need to go through these steps. So it's not conversational. So I'm a employee. I want to borrow. Okay. Okay, fine. I want to borrow. So then from here, okay, please select. You need to select to all of this. So let's say what is my interest rate if I make a loan? It will not provide you. You need to go through all of these. So that's the sample chatbot that you know of old that hasn't upgraded to the new technology. You need to go through these steps. No, the chatbot can only answer from 1 to 8. Let's say other questions. Okay, what is who we are, why you should use. Okay, let's go with other questions because I want to ask what is my interest rate if I make a loan. All right, so other questions. Yeah, so there, no, it goes through a decision tree. You can only go through it. But with a conversational language bot, anything you ask, it will reply as long as the system has been trained on it. No? So there, yeah. You only have 4 minutes left, but yes, so we finished our chatbot demo. And then from there, as a summary, so what have we discussed? So we discussed Azure AI services, as a summary, we discussed what Azure AI Services is. If you want to access all the different services of Azure in AI, you create this. And if you want to have specific different services, you go through language, speech, or translator. And then from there, just to wrap up, so for those who attended, thank you. We discussed all the different features of Azure AI, how to get this Azure AI 900 certification. If you want to know more about it, feel free to message me in LinkedIn or through the Azure AI Philippines LinkedIn group. And then from there, we discussed what this Azure AI multi-service resource is and what are the different, single resources in Azure, like Azure AI language, speech, and translation. And then from there, again, no, in the past 2 weeks, we also provided next steps. If you want to go dig deep into this to understand more how they work, and if you want to get your hands dirty and to do some, configurations and programming, then feel free to do so with these links here, which you can access. And then yeah, so that's about it. This summarizes our session for this week. Next week, we'll be discussing more the other features of AI, which is knowledge mining and OpenAI. So with that, thank you very much. And we are going to end this session. Thank you.